Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome back for the review show. Now, it's a 3-game week. It's an utter nightmare trying to keep up. Let's go higher on my chair. But I think we've done it. Preview, match, and now we're at the review time. Game number 2 of the 3-game week is over. All 24 teams were in action. There was 12 games. And we have now played 32 games in the championship. 14 to go. It's hotting up nicely. We have Preston in 6th. Bristol City are tied with them on 53 as well in 7th. Forest and Brentford in 4th and 5th on 54 points. We have Leeds and Fulham in 2nd and 3rd on 56 points. It's been a rather lovely old week for West Brom, hasn't it? 62 points for them. They're top of the league. They're 6 points clear and a dead giveaway on the Who Scored table. I've got a nice green win for West Brom. And then the next 4 teams, draw, lost. West Brom took at least 2 points out of the entire top 5 there. Jaggy says, still second, not falling apart just yet. Leeds are hanging in there. I was at Leeds game. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Down the bottom, however, Barnsley back to the bottom of the table. A rare win for Luton. That's closed them up a little bit. Wigan, 3rd bottom in the relegation position. A really good game week for Charlton, who opened themselves up a nice gap there. Wigan and Luton in amongst the points. Let's go through game by game and we'll see what we can come up with. Any comments or questions, get them in the chat. We'll start at the top. Like I said, it was Reading 1, West Brom 2. 2 away games for West Brom so far this week and 2 wins. Impressive stuff. 3rd win on the trot for the Baggies, and they are one of 4 teams who could potentially do the legendary Holy Grail that is the 9-point week. We have West Brom on 2 wins, Preston on 2 wins, Cardiff on 2 wins, Birmingham City on 2 wins as well. A fair few teams. It looks like we're going to have maybe more than one team do it. It's a rarity, but the 9-point week, the most championship thing in the world, the Holy Grail there. So Reading taking the lead in this one. Puskas with the penalty on 11. It was a handball by Bartley, wasn't it? Pereira, he's come back, makes such a difference. He gets the equaliser. And then Bartley himself, we see it so often, don't we? A player messes up, they go up the other end. Little Crow says, hopefully Millwall can spoil Preston's 9-pointer. John the Blues fan is in the chat, ready to gloat because Blues are in really good form. 3 wins on the bounce for them. West Brom, we can say the same. They've rediscovered their mojo. I don't know when Pereira came back, but maybe it was in that Luton game. We'll find out. Charlie says, fair play to West Brom. Good performance. Best side won last night. Baggies, 3 wins on the bounce. They're hitting form at the vital time. They are 6 points clear, but we can't really talk about playoffs because we now cannot separate 2nd and 7th in the championship. 3 points between Leeds in 2nd and Bristol City in 7th, with Cardiff on a bit of a charge as well, 10 points in their last 4. So nice turnaround for the Baggies. Let me just check and see who they went with in this game, because when I saw them at Millwall, they were without fullbacks. John says, is Bowen under pressure? That's 1 win in 11. We'll talk Reading in just a sec. Townsend and O'Shea still in there. It looks like pretty much exactly the same team that played. Yeah, it is the same team that played at Millwall. So no rotation from Bilic. So maybe some. And just look off the bench. Phillips, Austin, Grzycki, Hegazi. Goodness me. That's some decent backup as well. I think as John said in the chat, Reading 1 win in 11. Is that really right? Goodness me. Tailing off nastily now, if that's a word. 16th position for Reading. No wins in the last 6. And obviously it goes back further than that. 3 points in the last 6. Very, very poor form, but nobody particularly mobilising below them. 14 to go. 39 points. I mean, I was talking to some people at Brentford the other day. Mr. E says Bowen can't afford for the season to carry on as it is. I was talking to people at Brentford the other day saying sort of 50 points. 50 points seems excessively high for this season. We don't have Wigan hitting a point per game. Yeah, I think I'll stick with 46. 48, I think, would be high. So Reading on 39. So basically, they need 9 points from 14 games. So unless they have utterly dismal form, then I think they're safe. Although Charlie, who's a Reading fan, says we are not safe. I'm worried. So there we go. He knows more about Reading than I do. Let's move on to Leeds. If you want a detailed review of Brentford v Leeds, there is one on the channel. Really enjoyed it. It was 1-1 at Brentford. Two goalkeeping howlers actually. Casilla lets one under his foot for Benrahma to finish, and then Raya drops a corner, and Cooper stabs in. So 1-1 draw. End of the London curse. I know they didn't get a win, but Steve says Leeds made the Brentford front three look ordinary. Yeah, I probably agree with that. They didn't really get into the game. Brilliant front three for Brentford. I think it's a good performance by Leeds. Phillips made a big difference. I think if they lose the game, there's a whole lot of pressure on Kiko Casilla. Jaggy says Kiko saw me. Well, if he did, he could have said hello, couldn't he? So Kiko probably stays in at the weekend, doesn't he? And Bielsa backs him. Paveda was trending on Twitter as well. I think Leeds fans just want to see some other ideas from Bielsa. So we just have the spectre of Jean-Kevin Augustin, Ian Paveda. Pablo looked a bit off it as well. I think they need to try and, if they can get Forshaw back in, I know Tyler Roberts is injured, just try and get him back off to the right. Like Costa seems to have that position nailed down. He just floats inside, doesn't he, and can be more of an influence when he's stuck in the centre. Dylan says, Pablo on the right for me. We totally agree on that one then, Dylan. But good, considering Leeds' really bad form, I thought it was a good performance, and definitely something to build on. They're at home, aren't they, to Bristol City? Is that right? John says it's Phillips back for Leeds. Yeah, and he was pretty much their best player. Jasper says Forshaw out for the rest of the season. Has that been announced now? Because Bielsa's been quite coy about that, not giving an answer. But yeah, that's a shame because he loves. We say Bielsa loves Bamford. Bielsa loves Forshaw as well, doesn't he? So Leeds in second, tied on points now though with Fulham. So it has hotted up there. I'm looking at the last 6 games. Fulham have got 14 points. Leeds have got 4. Yes, it has been confirmed. Forshaw's gone for surgery. What about Shackleton, Leeds fans? I always like Shackleton whenever I see him. Nice, bustly player. I know they need someone to carry the ball a bit further, but maybe Klitsch can do that if Shackleton comes in. I don't know. Just putting it out there. I think trying to get Pablo off to one side would help. Let's just say. But Bielsa ain't changing his system, is he? No chance. Brentford, you worry a little bit about the form in the games against the top teams. I've seen Brentford not beat Leeds and not beat Forest, but they bounce back beautifully, don't they? Dylan says Harrison looks better on the right. I think Harrison's an excellent player. I know some Leeds fans are a bit up and down on him, but technically he's really good. He's fit as a fiddle, and I think Bielsa knows he can rely on him to follow all those instructions. Never stops. Technically good. Harrison, I do like him. And there you go. Jackie says I don't rate him at all. Leeds fans pretty split on Harrison, but I've seen him up close a few times. I think he's a good player in there. Let's move on to Fulham, who really did they miss a trick? Away game at Fulham on Wednesday night, and they don't get the win. It's a draw. Mitrovic, what's that, 21 for the season? And Bodvarsson, who looked very offside for the equaliser. I know there was a missed penalty in this one as well, although I don't know at what point in the game that one came. Jed Wallace missing a penalty. He's had a good season, hasn't he? So surprised to see that. Fulham's form is excellent, and it's playing out all right. 116, drawn 8, lost 8. Getting there, isn't it, for Fulham? Nowhere near 2 points per game, though. Only West Brom anyway near that. John says he was miles offside from Bodvarsson's goal. Mr. E says never a bad point away at Millwall. And Jasper says the penalty was at 1-1. Thank you. So yeah, Millwall maybe missed a trick in that one. Fulham, nice. Win-win draw. Keep that up. They'll get that second place, won't they? Little Crow says not offside. It says he thinks the Fulham player touched it. Robin says Fulham have the squad to outlast Leeds. Animation agrees with I forget who it was. It was a Little Crow in there. So yeah, Fulham looking good. I like the comment there. They've got the squad to outlast Leeds. They do have a little bit more in reserve to cope with injuries. Fulham, don't they? Obviously, Leeds have the superior manager, but you know he's improving. As I say, getting there. And when you're talking about a team that's getting there, really in joint second. John says Mitro is the difference, and he scores more than Leeds. Yeah. If you put Mitro in Leeds team, where do Leeds finish? Little Crow says Ryan Leonard got a run out. Good timing since Williams is now out. Yeah, Millwall had some big. When's Thompson back? Little Crow. Millwall had some big problems in central midfield and trying to adjust to Ryan Woods as well. And I think some Millwall fans around me, I was there at the game against West Brom, need to try and figure out what it is that Woods is trying to do, because if Millwall can adapt to Woods. I know that's kind of the other way. Oh, Thompson out for the season. Okay. Woods can really run a game. I've seen him do it for Brentford many, many times. I know he really didn't do it for Stoke. But if they can get that short passing around that midfield area going, we know Millwall fans expect confrontation and kind of directness. But there we go. Dylan says Leeds would walk the league if we had Mitrovic Watkins. Maybe. Calm says we had offside decisions go against us, Blackburn and Charlton. So Fulham maybe getting a little bit of the old bad luck with some of the decisions there. But we've had some debate in the chat as to whether it touched a Fulham player on the way through. John says Woods the most un-Millwall player I've ever seen. Well, if they can get him going, Woods is he was a top Championship deep line playmaker for Brentford. It was 6 million to Stoke. I know Stoke have been a basket case since then, but yeah. Speaking of basket cases, what are Forest doing? Deary me, getting themselves right up into this challenging positions. Let's read a couple of comments. John says he loves Wood Blues. Robin says can't see anyone except Cardiff. We're going on to Cardiff, upsetting that top six. So yeah, Forest losing at home to Charlton. It was all set up, wasn't it? Leeds and Brentford drew. Fulham drew. If Forest win that game, they are in second place, clear. We'll come on to Tomlin, Sheriff, in a minute. I totally agree with you, though. He's on fire. Yeah, so silly stuff from Forest. I know we've all kind of hypothesised in a simple way, yeah, Forest are better against teams like Brentford or Leeds, who are going to keep the ball and then they can set up and attack. Dave says Charlton were superb, and that is a hell of a result for Charlton. Hell of a night for Charlton as well, given the Barnsley defeat. Wigan, I think they were in front, weren't they? And then drawing against Borough. So maybe decisive for Charlton. I've been down on Charlton. I've been forecasting them into the bottom four. They finally get into the bottom four, and then 2 wins in the last 3. So Charlton giving themselves a real chance now, up to 36 points, 6 above relegation. Nice cushion. More importantly, though, have they seen off Barnsley and Luton? Now they're 9 and 11 ahead of those, respectively. Forest, I still wouldn't fancy playing them in the playoffs, though, because they are going to be hard to score against over those 180 minutes, especially in when they're playing away. Forest, they'll set up nice. You just worry, can they get there if they're going to lose to Charlton and Birmingham like they have in 2 of the last 3 games? Moving on, God, Preston are one of these teams that whenever I do my predictions, I just get them wrong all the time. I think, no, their level is below the top 6 and they're not going to make it. And look at this run. Similar, exactly the same as Fulham's, 14 points in the last 6. Goodness me, Preston in great form. And they're 3 points off second. My God, great win for Preston away at Stoke. Stoke have been in good form themselves, haven't they? A couple of set play goals, Brown, Barkhuizen, and Preston just continue to prove me wrong. Robin says Preston hard nut to keep down. Adi says Barkhausen is so underrated. And the way Alex Neil's used Barkhausen's clever as well, because he's done this with various players, trying them up front. And Barkhausen a threat down the middle. He's physical enough, and he's quick. I'm sure he's a wide player by trade. So yeah, Preston, and maybe no coincidence, Johnson coming back into the team. Fitness going, Pearson always good, Davies always good. Can Preston get a surge on like they had early in the season? They are in fine form at the moment. Let's hit that form table quickly. Bristol City top of it, Preston second, Birmingham, Fulham, Cardiff. They are your form teams. Jasper says Leeds going on a streak afterwards. Preston, John says one of the worst sides he's seen this season. Sharif says Rudd's a good goalkeeper as well. John, I'm not saying Preston are one of the worst sides I've seen this season, but they do confuse me. I see them, but they keep looking really good. Robin says Preston's remaining fixtures I'd have to check. Noel says Bellingham, 50 million to Chelsea. My God. I don't think Chelsea's still under a soft embargo. I don't see them spending 50 million, but wow. Yeah, that'd make you sell, wouldn't it? 50 million quid. Jesus Christ, that's a parachute payment. Get Birmingham right up the table, that would, wouldn't it? So yeah, Preston sixth. Stoke, who have been in good form, but I suppose Wigan draws, so they claw back a point. It's slowly but surely, isn't it, for Stoke and Huddersfield, but they are just doing it. John says price will go up. More than 50 million for Bellingham, surely not. What's the record? It's Sissoko, isn't it, out of the Championship? Sessegnon, 25 million as well. Madison, 25 million, but I think Sissoko was 30 odd, wasn't it? Chris says Preston form slightly misleading. That's a fair comment. They beat Charlton, Barnsley, Wigan. Yeah, fair comment by Chris there, punishing the lower teams. And I think Robin pointed out we need to check the fixtures for the rest of the season. So yeah, it might be a nice little fertile patch for Preston, and we'll see after that. Bristol City, I just told you, were top of the. Noel says jokingly, get the EFL off our back for 20 minutes. Yeah, that'll sort the FFP, won't it? 50 million quid. Bristol City, the form team in the division, 5 wins in 6. Obviously, they had that defeat against Blues, but back at it in this one. It was Bristol City 3. Derby 2, Nucky Wells gets a game, and Nucky Wells scores. What system did they play? 4-4 F-in-2. There you go. Wells and Jeju up front. Smith and Henriksen central midfield. Looking good. First goal for Benkovic as well. 3 up by half time. Jeju, Robin says they nearly threw it away. Dave, he said this before the game actually, more awful defending from us. It was crosses into the box, wasn't it, from the right hand side? There was, I do have to say, there was a brilliant assist by Jay Da Silva for the first goal. A kind of shoulder high volleyed cushion cutback. It was a brilliant assist. Check that one out from Da Silva coming forward from left full back. Derby, who've been in good form, they get goals back. Waghorn's now got 11. That's decent from him, isn't it? Chris Martin. Still can't believe we're talking about Chris Martin in 2020. Animation says Bogle got a lot of criticism. Interesting, because he's Derby's great white FFP hope, isn't he? Sell him on somewhere. I was going to say Frank will have him at Chelsea, but he's probably got the best right back he can get there, hasn't he? So he probably doesn't need him. So yeah, Bristol City moving along nicely. Preston's form will be of concern. So will Cardiff's. Been saying for a while, 6th place up for grabs, and it's nice to see 3 teams giving this a good chase. Deej172 says Derby's best player was Dwayne Holmes. Dwayne Holmes has been really good, hasn't he? Next to doing Rooney's running for him. I know he does more than that, but yeah, really good little period from Holmes. Good signing that. Has proved it. Scunthorpe or something? Holmes, yeah, great signing. Let's talk about Cardiff because Fulham 1958 says our running is horrendous. Tell us more, please do. Yeah, Cardiff are at it, aren't they? That is, let me add this up, 369. So 12 points in the last 6, 2 points per game. The wins are coming now. Someone said in the chat as well, Tomlin's absolutely bossing it, isn't he? I'll look up his stats for another time, but certainly at least 5 goals and 5 assists. On Holmes, Steve says the way he controls his midfield is really good. Joel will come on to Luton in a bit. Cardiff unbeaten since New Year's Day, says John, and Adoma could be a good signing, says Animation. It was Murphy, Volks and Patterson with the goals, and this one heavy heavy 3-0 away win. Another assist for Tomlin in there. Cardiff moving up nicely. You know what? When they didn't sign anyone particularly, I know Animation mentioned Adoma. I thought, oh, are they having Harris? They don't seem to be giving him much money, but they're moving along very nicely now. They are still 4 points off that 6th place and 4 points off Preston and Bristol City, simply because Preston and Bristol City themselves have been in really, really nice form. But don't let that falsify you what Cardiff are doing, because Preston and Bristol City have squeezed up. We said only 3 points between 7th and 2nd. So Cardiff, 4 points off 6th, but 7 points off 2nd. So those 3 teams can keep hammering at the rate they are, and we'll get a lovely old chase, won't we? So well done, Cardiff. Huddersfield again, exactly like Stoke, one loss, slowly but surely. I've got no further news on the FFP stuff. Noel, who was asking in the chat, let's let the lawyers duke that out, and we'll wait for a slow news day. So inevitably it will be the international break in March. We'll probably hear about it. That's when we heard about Blues last year. Robin says Leeds still go to Cardiff. Is that the case? Yeah, because there was a 3-3, wasn't it? The return game. Blackburn get a win, and they're only 6 points off the playoffs. They've just shifted above Swansea. There it was. Blackburn 3, Hull 0. Jesus, Hull. Lenihan, Armstrong, Dominic Samuel. God, we had him on loan at Ipswich. Goodness me. Blackburn. If Mowbray finishes Blackburn 9th, I can't see anyone apart from Preston there who you would say, for expectations to league table, has done better than Mowbray. That's outstanding if they finish 9th. Really, really, really good. Fulham 1958 says they still have West Brom, Leeds, Forest, Bristol away, and Brentford at home. Ouch, ouch, ouch. We'll find a lot out about Scott Parker there. Joel says most promising rising star in the Championship. Before all the Birmingham fans say it's got to be Bellingham, hasn't it? Hull, oh my God, lost, draw, lost. They've got 40 points, so we think 6 or 7 or 8 more and they're fine. But 1 point in the last 6 is going to take them 48 games on this current run. Deej says, opinions on Nicholas Eliasson. Eliasson's a really easy, interesting one, isn't he? Because I saw him play right wing against Ipswich for Bristol City last season, and he was not very good. And they swapped him wings to the left-hand side, and he destroyed us in the second half. He's got tons of assists. I don't know whether it's work rate or something of that nature, why Johnson doesn't start him, and it took a long while, but certainly got a banging delivery, hasn't he? And he's got 10, 11 assists or something, maybe even more. So, really, really like Eliasson. Sorry, there's a few questions came in there, and I didn't see any of them because I was waffling away about Nicholas Eliasson. Where did we get to? Diddly-doo-dah. Swansea, who had a draw this past midweek, and they play on Friday night, Valentine's Day. Swansea 0, QPR 0, and from what I saw of the highlights, it looked like QPR and Hugill particularly had the chances to win that one. Swansea are now victims of Bristol City, Preston and Cardiff all being in really good form. They've all steamed past them, and Swansea lying 10th on 47. QPR, interesting clean sheets there. Deej says 14 assists. Goodness me, for Elias, and that's ridiculous, isn't it? If that's right. QPR, a clean sheet away from home after 3 straight defeats. They're on 39 points actually, so less than Hull, and on a par with Reading, and we've said both of those teams in not great form. And what happened to that QPR team that can, just on a whim, stick 2 goals in a game, 3 goals in a game with Eze and the like? Are they missing Wells? Let's see how it pans out. Which game are we talking about? Says Super Leeds. Who are we on to next? We've done Millwall. We've got to talk Sheffield Wednesday, who drew at Barnsley, didn't they? No, that was at the weekend. Oh my God. Sheffield Wednesday lost at Luton. I think they conceded the penalty in the first minute as well, and Collins hits the bar with it. But Luton get the win, which I controversially predicted. So Luton actually have 2 wins in the last 4 games. So if Luton go win, loss, loss, win, loss, loss for the rest of the season. They will pick up another 14 points because that's a point per game, isn't it? And they will finish on 41 points, probably still get relegated. So you can see where they are. Neil says, God no, Ben, awful games. Joel says, come on, the Hatters. Luton have won 8 games this season, so that's why they're still in. It's got 21 defeats. But someone asked where I'm headed to the weekend. I cannot, I don't know yet. Charlie says, can Luton do a great escape? Well, we've just said they need pretty much 20 points, don't they, from 14 games. So you're looking at 6 wins, 2 draws, 6 defeats. It's doable. It's doable, but it'd be a hell of a swing, wouldn't it? And what's happened to Sheffield Wednesday? Loss, draw, lost down to 12th on 44 points, away off the playoffs now, 9 points off the playoffs. Neil asks, did Monk play 5 at the back against Luton? Let's see who scored. Says Monk going a little bit into his shell. Yes, he did by the look of it. Yeah, with Palmer and it says Forestieri played left wing back. Wow. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, animation says Forestieri was left wing back. I like Monk. Seems very strange that he's going on this run, especially after he got Wickham to replace Fletcher. I thought that would help. Noel says 5 at the back and team coach on the bench. My God. Who's left? We did Birmingham, didn't we? We did Hull, we did Reading, we did QPR. We haven't done Borough. What did Borough do? They drew with Wigan. We'll take some questions in a minute. There's a few good ones coming in. Let's just have a quick look at this. It was 2-2. Wigan were a goal up from Morsey, then Dunkley got himself sent off, so he'll be out for a game. It looks like 2 bookings. Wing scored twice, and Makudi, who the Borough fans seem to like, got an own goal there. Wigan really needed a win from that one, given you've got Luton winning, you've got Charlton pushing that gap out. Lots of wins around them. In fact, quite a fair number of wins for 23rd to 19th over these last few games. A surprising number, actually. I didn't expect to see that many green W's in there, but Wigan still 4 points off. Borough not out of it. It's just these teams here, Borough, QPR, Reading, Hull, they just need to kind of win 2 or thereabouts. Did I miss Birmingham, John? I must have missed them. I'm sorry I did miss them because they're in really, really good form. Birmingham went to Barnsley, and the day ends in Y. Scott Hogan scored again. I think that's 3 games, 3 goals. Lovely goal as well. Swivels and then pings it into the corner. Hogan. Birmingham look really in really good form. Win, draw, win. 14 points from 6 is really, really excellent. Bit of traffic ahead of them, but they are 1 point off the top half, with Wednesday trending downwards. But Derby are looking all right, aren't they? Millwall have been pretty consistent, but trending a little bit downwards. Swansea the same. So maybe they can do something. But yeah, Birmingham, we were worried a few weeks ago they were going to drop into that bottom 8, and it's not been the case, has it? Barnsley, do we stick a fork in them now? They had the brilliant run when Struber came. And it's all gone a bit Pete Tong since then. They're on 25. They're 9 adrift with 14 to go. If it gets to the point where you've got to make up a point every game, for example, 9 points with 9 to go, you're pretty much done, aren't you? So not looking good for Barnsley. So that should be everybody covered. Now let's do a quick scan. Yeah, I think we've done all of them. Animation says, is this the best bottom 3 we've had for a while? Not so sure about that. I think in terms of bottom 5, having 2 parachute teams in there, though, makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it? Great chance now, as I said, 4 teams, West Brom, Preston, Cardiff and Birmingham all could do a 9-point week. Robin says, Barnsley manager will be gone at the end of the season. Gerhard's true. It's so promising, wasn't it? Chaplin, Woodrow, Mowat, Brown, everything looking good. And it's all tailed off really nastily. 1 point in the last 5 games. Right, we're coming up half an hour. Let's do some questions. Michael says Birmingham will attend normal service against the Bees. Brentford firing back on all cylinders. Birmingham had that glorious shithouse win on the opening day of the season, didn't they? Next manager for the sack. Well, I don't think it will be anybody in relegation trouble. I think it will be someone at the top who runs out of steam. God, that's a hard one. Next manager for the sack. Any ideas in the chat there? If Fulham lose all those hard games and drop down to 7th, it will be Scott Parker. Animation says Jones. John says Gary Monk. Charlie says, do I go to Sheffield Wednesday away or work? Of course you go to Sheffield Wednesday away. Little Crow says Lamouchi most likely. I think he's having a little pop at Mr. Marianakis there. No, there's no obvious candidates really. Maybe it will be one of the teams down the bottom there, but yeah, we've got so many new ones. Lee Johnson says Jasper. That's assuming he'll do a 7-game lose streak. How's Stuart the Fish? They are both okay in there at the moment, Neil. Wigan maybe formed as Lee Johnson if we don't make the playoffs. Maybe Lee Johnson's time has come. But Lee Johnson always babbles on about sustainability, doesn't he? And increasing year on year, and they are still doing that. So that buzzword might keep him in the job. They trade so well as well, Bristol City, don't they? So we'll see. Right, any more questions? I'll take them. If not, I am going to go and make some dinner. As usual, follow on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Hit subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, support monetarily on Patreon. So hard getting through a 3-game week, but I'll try and get a preview done tomorrow. I don't want to get in trouble. This might take a while. What's my best 11 for Luton formation as well? My God, I'd have to have a good look at that. I think Luton have been best when they stick with what Jones did with the diamond, and any Luton team with Brown in is better than without. John asked where I'm at the weekend. You know, I've got nothing booked, but I should be able to get somewhere. So I will have a look. Is anything jumping out there? Derby has Fulham, Barnsley. I'll have a little looky. I don't want to travel too far. West Brom Forest. Oh, that's on TV though, isn't it? 3 up, 3 down. In my opinion, I can't do that. 3 down is going to be a lot easier because Luton and Barnsley are so far back, and I think Charlton have made a difference there. Bottom 3 looks in trouble, doesn't it? 3 up. No chance you can get me to predict that. Although, let's just go for West Brom. Joel says, have I ever been to Luton? Many, many times. I think I've been 3 or 4 times this season. I'm in Bedfordshire here, so Luton is just down the old M1, which I'm kind of waving at. Actually, it's on that side, isn't it? Lost my bearings for a second there. Right, thank you everybody for watching. I'll try and get on tomorrow to do the preview. I hope everyone's enjoying the content. I'm trying to not kill myself with research and just get in there and work with questions. So streams are more important than ever, and comments coming in, because it's just so hard to spend 3 hours working on research for a video, or I can come in and use what's in front of me. Right, thank you everybody for the nice comments. Thank you for the help as always and the information, and I'll try and get on here tomorrow. Over and out, guys.